fellow diamond painting addicts, and welcome back to Diamond Painting Anonymous. I'm Daphne, and I'm here today for my weekly WIP and chat. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome back. WIP, W-I-P, stands for Work in Progress, and this is mine. You're welcome to go grab something that you're working on and work alongside while you listen to me chat. Or alternatively, you can treat this like a podcast and just listen while you do whatever. I thank everybody for being here today, and I'm just going to jump right in. Now, I am going to say that this is not a canvas that you guys have seen yet. The unboxing and kitting up is still to come. I'm still working on my Vibrant Italy, and I thought about dragging it in here, but it's such a big painting, and it's such a pain to drag it all the way in here from where I have it set up, and all the accoutrement, the drills, the pens, the tray, everything else to bring it in here and kind of move everything else to get it all set up. So I decided I was just going to start something else because I'm insane. And this is small and it was easy to bring in here. So keep an eye out because I will be, like I said, unboxing it and also doing the kit up of this, which you will see later. But this is what I'm going to be working on today. So let me just start my timer and zoom in. So hopefully that's close enough for you guys. Let me zoom it out just a tad that you can see what I'm doing and I can work. Okay, so I'm so excited because my washi tape matched, and also this is some washi tape that my husband got me. It's Critical Role washi tape, and it says, "How do you want to do this?" And I love it. So I'm super excited that I got it to match, first of all, because that never happens to me. And I got it to be Critical Role. So, okay, let's see. Where do I want to start first? With this color. Okay. So, how is everyone doing? I am, should have grabbed something with a multi-placer, but I did not. I don't have any of my multi-placers loaded, so I'm just actually going to load this one with some wax because I happen to have some wax laying here. And then I can at least use some multi-placing. I'm not going to single place every single one of these. I could, but I don't want to. So I'm going to load this up with some wax and get going. Okay. So when you guys start a new painting, do you start? I almost always start in the bottom right. Is that something everybody else does, or do you start in a different place? I don't know why. It just always seems to make the most sense to me. I've seen other people start at the top, and I feel like that's confusing. I don't know why. I mean, it all eventually gets drilled, right? So what difference does it make? But anyway, just random thoughts that wander through my mind. Today's been kind of a busy day. I'm once again way later getting this filmed, which means I'm going to be later than I would like to be getting it edited and uploaded because, yeah, just because I let time get away from me and I should have gotten it done before now. My husband and I went grocery shopping today. We normally just do pickup for our groceries. And I joke that it saves us money, but it really does. So we went just to go look today. I should have known better. One, we went more hungry. It's always a bad deal because you always end up spending more than you should at that time. And then we went to a very large grocery store in the large city that's near us. It's much bigger than our grocery store that we normally go to. So they have lots of like international type things that we just can't get at our grocery store. So we just bought way too much in groceries. We were laughing on the way home because it was like, it probably would have been cheaper for us to just keep doing the Home Chef. We've skipped that for a couple of weeks because we decided, maybe we did actually know how to cook. And So that's one of the things that we were doing today was kind of going through and, oh, well, we could make this and let's buy this because we could make that. So like I found a kit basically for red beans and rice, which we had when we took our trip to New Orleans, and we went on one of those riverboat cruises, and that's what they served us for lunch, and it was so, so good with some andouille sausage. So we got that kit. Then we had to go find some andouille sausage, and we had seen a commercial a couple of days ago for some butter chicken. It was actually a commercial for the sauce um, that you get in Canada. I can't remember the name of it, and I was like, what's butter chicken? I've never heard of it before. So we found some stuff, some sauce, so that I'm sure it's not going to be the same as the stuff that he's used to in Canada, but at least we're going to try it. So, and then I love pasta carbonara. So we bought some of the stuff to make that. We have a local, well, I say local, it's in the big city that's near us, place that is Mediterranean food. And we used to go there a lot, and when we lived closer to the city, and I would get their pasta carbonara all the time. So, so good. So we got some stuff for that. But we spent way too much. I mean, we did our regular grocery run, which was a little less than it normally is. And then we also go to Target because we can just get some home goods type stuff at Target for way cheaper than we can get it from our grocery store. And so anyway, I was like, well, I want to go try and find some more like low sugar, low cal stuff. And also, that grocery store has way more selection as far as like produce and things than our local grocery store. So we made the trip into town, but man, is my wallet regretting it right about now. So yeah, it's just, ugh. So we basically made 3 trips to the grocery store, our regular grocery run, that grocery run, and then our Target run, which, wouldn't be a big deal, except that we just had to pay our house insurance. Man, you guys, I used to work for an insurance company. Now, when I worked for an insurance company, I paid medical and dental claims, but I feel like other kinds of insurance is just as bad. Like, insurance is good for like catastrophic losses, but some of the rest of it, I swear, I feel like life would be simpler if we didn't have to mess with the rest of it. Like, my husband has to get an MRI, and it's not scheduled until Thursday. He's fallen apart. He's done something to his shoulder, and it's not getting any better. So they did x-rays, nothing wrong with the x-rays. So now he's going in for an MRI. And before we even get a call really to schedule it or anything, he gets a call wanting to know how much we're going to pay when we come in, because they've already checked it all out with our insurance company, and this is how much they're going to owe, and so they want some sort of payment. Now, I'm torn about this. I think I get frustrated because that's not how it was when I was growing up. You went to the doctor, you waited till your insurance processed everything, and then you paid what was left over, because things happen between the time you go in and whatever. And so, they just waited. And now it feels like they want all of your money up front. And I mean, I get it. It's not like I get to go buy my groceries and, take them home and then, oh, okay, I'll pay you in a week's time. I get that. But then I also feel like, well, if you're going to make me pay up front, then you should be way more transparent about your services. How much is, okay, I'm going to get an MRI. Where's my little sheet that tells me how much this is going to cost? And all of it, because of course, when you're talking about healthcare, it's never just an MRI. You get a bill from the hospital for using their MRI equipment. You get a bill from the radiology people for someone to look at the MRI. And then you get another bill from your doctor for explaining the results of your MRI. And that's if you're lucky enough that it's just like a routine basic MRI. If you have a contrast MRI where they have to give you stuff to drink or they have to hook you up to an IV so that they can see what's going on, then there's extra charges associated with all of that. And of course, you don't get told beforehand what any of this is going to be. I mean, and it's not like you can shop around. Like when I buy my groceries, well, I don't want to pay $3.39 at Walmart for milk. I'm going to go to Target and get it for $1.29, right? Can't do that with insurance, with healthcare. So, I mean, I suppose you can, but it's not that simple. And I mean, hospitals never want to tell you exactly what it's going to cost because they want to hedge their bets. Well, it may not be exactly this because if they get in there and they discover there's an issue, then it's going to be that, blah, blah, blah. Well, I just feel like if that's the way it's going to be, then, maybe you should just wait until we're all said and done to ask me for money. You know what I mean? So, just a pet peeve of mine. And like I said, I understand why, but I just feel like there's got to be a better way to do it. And healthcare costs are just so ridiculously out of control anyway that it just seems insane some days. So, anyway, healthcare rant over. I don't even know why I got on that topic. I was talking about groceries. Um, Not looking forward to, well, I'm looking forward to spring. Not looking forward to the beginning of allergy season. I have seasonal allergies, and it's one of those things. People are always telling you, oh, save electricity, dry your clothes outside, blah, blah, blah. I would love to do that. I can't because if I hang my clothes outside on the line to dry, I can't wear them because I just spend all day sneezing my head off because all of the allergens and pollen and stuff that's outside is now attached itself to my clothes. So I'm just making it even worse for myself. So, and I get massive headaches, migraines from scented things. Like I use scented laundry soap and scented dryer sheets, but I try very hard to get like very faint. I don't always get unscented because I can't smell it. It's a faint enough smell that it doesn't usually bother me. I don't have to get like the free and clear stuff. I'm not like allergic to the scents and stuff, but it can give me a big headache, which is kind of a bummer because like I can't burn like scented candles. That's an instant migraine for me. I don't really wear perfume. That's an instant migraine for me. My At work the other day, my boss has one of those like scented wax melt things, and she tries not to burn it while I'm at work because it gives me a headache. And I don't know if she forgot, but it was on the other day when I was at work, and I just thought, man, I stand out in the hallway and I'm like, wow, that's super strong. And of course, the rest of them are like, oh, I can barely even smell it. Like, I don't know what's wrong with your noses because I can smell it and it's giving me a headache. So, I used to do that when I was younger. You get in an elevator and some older person would step in wearing what smelled like a gallon of perfume. Ugh, use soap, people. Soap beats perfume any day of the week. Let's see. Oh, I was going to ask you guys. I am looking for some more diamond painting pens. Now, I love the French place, but I would like something that's a little less expensive. So, leave me a comment down below and tell me what your favorite diamond painting pen shop is. Whether it's a shop on Etsy, whether it's a shop, um, it's just like a website, whether it's whatever it is. Um, Let me know. I would like to buy some more pens, but I really don't want to spend, I mean, I love this pen, but I really would like to spend a little bit less than that if I could. And bonus if it's a company that I've not bought from before. I've looked at several on Etsy, but I've just never found another one that I was like, ugh, gotta have that one. So, looking at that. And so, yeah, leave me a comment below with a recommendation for your favorite pen store. My husband okayed me to not include my Craftably purchases from December of last year in this year's budget, which I was doing that to kind of keep myself in line because I knew if I didn't do it, I would probably overspend. And I mean, it's March and I really only have about half my budget left. Now that's including the money that I spent on the Craftably one. So if I take that out, then I have some more left to spend, but I'm still spending it faster than I would like. So I thought, well, instead of buying some paintings, I'll buy some pens and some other things. Maybe that will satisfy my need to shop and still let me not blow out my budget. But we'll see. We just got, oh, that's why I got on the topic of insurance in the first place. We just got done paying our house insurance and we're going to have to pay our car insurance this month. So our house insurance is not part of our mortgage payment like a lot of people's. We just pay it outright ourselves every year. So we just pay it in one go because we get a discount if we do it that way. But man, we have one of those policies where it's basically replacement costs. So if anything happens to the house, they will rebuild it. But with all the price of lumber and everything going up so sky high in the last couple of years, so is our insurance premiums. So that's was annoying. Literally, it was almost $700 more this year than it was last year. So, and in the scheme of things, $700 for rebuilding our house is not a lot. It would certainly cost us more than that if we didn't have insurance and we had to rebuild it. But man, anytime you get those unexpected bills, it's just, ugh. And we also have to pay our car insurance. We pay our car insurance every 6 months and we get all kinds of discounts. So I shudder to think what our insurance would be like without any discounts because literally when we get our bill, it'll say, oh, you saved this much in discounts. Usually we end up saving, what they're saying we're getting discounts is more than we're paying. Like, if you're not lucky enough to be able to get some of those discounts, how on earth do people afford car insurance? It's crazy. It's crazy, you guys. The world has gone crazy. And all I want to do is diamond paint. I'm so looking forward to this summer when I can just get up, film, diamond paint, go to bed, repeat. I keep telling my husband he needs to start a YouTube channel too. He's very into like tech stuff and computers and that kind of thing. And I'm like, you should start a YouTube channel. He hasn't done it yet though. Like he keeps saying he's going to. And I'm like, nah, eventually something will kind of kick you in the butt and you'll do it. But until then, you're not going to do it. I can tell you to do it till I'm blue in the face, but you have to decide to do it. It is kind of a scary thing at first, and I told him when I first started, I thought, oh, nobody's going to listen to me. What do I know? I happen to like this hobby. And I thought, you know what? Does it matter? If it doesn't work, then at least I can say I tried, right? So, and I used to be that way about almost everything. And the older I get, I think, the more cautious I am about stuff, the less willing I am to take a risk. And I think you just have to get to a point sometimes where you're like, what have I got to lose? It's that same old adage about going back to school. Well, you can put it off for 10 years. And then what? In 10 years, you'll be 10 years older. Are you going to be in any better place? I mean, and everybody's answer for that is different, but I don't know, everything seems different now. When my kids, before my kids were born, when I was in school, it was always just a given that my siblings and I were going to go to college. My dad went to night school, struggled to pay for college. He actually had help through the GI Bill, but it didn't pay for everything. And, then of course there was just hardships that are not necessarily financial, but are hardships all the same. Like the fact that he worked all day at a full-time job and then he went to school at night, which was fine, except it left my mom to take care of, 3 children under the age of 5 by herself all day long. And that's hard. Um, so, those of you guys who are stay-at-home moms, kudos to you, because I was not made to be a stay-at-home mom. Once my kids got a little bit older, it was fine, but when they were little, yeah, I was going bananas. I needed out of the house. I needed adult conversation. Anyway, it was just a given that my siblings and I would go to college, and that college would let you um, make a better life for yourself down the road. And all three of us did graduate, but I never really, well, I was going to say I've never really used my degree, but I did. When I first went to college, I was going to get a business degree. And then I changed it to education, and then I changed it to English. And English was what I ended up getting my degree in. And, my intention had been to teach, and then I decided that's not what I wanted to do. And so I ended up working for an insurance company for many, many years. Now, they liked the fact that I had a college degree, but other than the fact that I had one, it really was not relevant to my job at all. I mean, what I was doing when I left, I probably would have been better served to have some kind of computer degree than an insurance degree. Oh, look, I've got triplets. They're all stuck together. Um, anyway, and so, when my kids were born, you're going to go to college. And my deal with my kids was, as long as you go to college, you can live here and you don't have to work. And I'll pay for college. And, that's just how I thought it was going to be. And I mean, that's pretty much how it's ended up. My oldest graduated from college, but she took a year off to figure out what she wanted to do because she hated it. Hated it, hated it, hated it. And I don't know if part of that was she just hadn't figured out what she wanted to do yet, or if she just didn't like school itself. School was never her thing. She's very artistic and likes to just do her own thing. And so that part of it was difficult for her. And why do I have to take this class? I'm not interested in this class. And that carried over into college as well. Now, she did take a year off and she worked, and she ended up getting a job in a school. And that's kind of how she decided, you know what, I'm going to go back and get my teaching degree. And she did. She's now decided, however, that that isn't what she wants to do. So now she's trying to figure out what she wants to do. She still works in education right now, but she isn't sure that's what she wants to keep doing. So, we'll see. And my husband and I were talking about it, and I said, I don't. She graduated with no student debt. We paid for her way through college, and we're currently paying for my son's way, although he does have a scholarship that helps. It doesn't pay for everything, but it does help. But, you know, is the college degree all that it used to be or all that it's cracked up to be? Is it as necessary as, it was before? So many people are kind of, doing the entrepreneur thing, the solo gig thing, now that we've got this gig economy. Is it as necessary as it was? Because here's my big thing, and this is what I've always told my kids. While I wanted them to go to college and get a good education because I wanted them to, be stable later in life, what I really want is for them to be happy. And, what that looks like for me may be completely different from what it looks like for them, you know? And we've had some discussions about that. They're young enough that I don't think either one of them really kind of know what they want yet, know where they want to end up, know what they want to end up doing. And I'm okay with that. I mean, I've had so many different jobs over my lifetime. I started out working in retail. That was my first job. And then I worked, wasn't retail, but it was a customer service kind of position. And then I worked for the insurance company after I got out of school and did a lot of different things. I did a short stint as a stay-at-home mom and discovered it was not for me, and then went back to work for the insurance company. But I did work from home, so I was technically still home with her, even though I was still working. And this was in the late 90s, early 2000s. So I was very lucky to be able to work from home like that at that point in time, because there weren't very many companies who were doing kind of remote jobs and that sort of thing. And then after I'd been there for a while and I finally decided I was tired of it and I wanted to do something new, I got my teaching certificate and my license, and I taught. And I did that for many years until I decided I didn't want to do that. I had the opportunity to kind of be at home with my kids, when they were middle and high school. And so they weren't little, but my son was very involved in sports and my daughter had several activities. And so I was lucky enough to be able to go to all of those things. I could go to all of his games and meets and everything else. I could go to all of her shows and, whatever else was going on. And I got to be home, which was amazing. And then after they were both kind of done with it, I was like, okay, I think they're old enough that I'm and mostly independent, that I want to find something. Didn't want to work full time, so I ended up with this part-time job and I've loved it. But I'm at the point where I'm ready to do something else again. So, maybe they're wired just like me, that, my dad was the kind of person that he knew exactly what he wanted to do. He went to college, he got his degree, he got a job doing that, and that's what he did until he died. And he loved it, loved his job. I mean, there were, of course, things about his job that he didn't like, but for the most part, loved his job. Loved the actual work part of it. Didn't like all the office politics and meetings and stuff like that, but the actual job part of it, loved. And he was active in like groups and things um, that he liked doing as well, that were associated with his job. And so, he'd always told us, find something that you like to do. But my parents were very focused on find something that will make you lots of money. And I'm not so concerned about the lots of money part. I mean, something that makes money so that you can live the way you want, definitely. But, what I think I need in order to live comfortably may not be what my kids think they need in order to live comfortably. And it may be that they, get out there and they need to experience kind of living on their own and doing some things before they discover what it is they think they need or want in order to live comfortably. When in my family, when all of us, my siblings and I left home, my parents bought a new house and they actually ended up building one. And I want to downsize because my kids are gone. I don't want to have to take care of a big house. I don't want a big house payment, even though, we'll have the money. I would rather spend my money on other things than a house. And my husband and I have talked about that, and we're both on the same page. When my mom and dad, when we all moved out, they built a bigger house than we'd ever had. We grew up in a very small 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom house, 1-car garage. We moved from there to a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 2-car garage house. And when all of us left, they moved into a 5-bedroom, 3-bathroom, 3-car garage house. And, I don't begrudge them any of that. My parents worked very hard. My mom worked as well as my dad. Um, and, they worked hard for their money. So now I got that song in my head. She works hard for the money. Anyway, um, my parents worked very hard for what they had. And, whatever they wanted to do was great. But that's not what I want to do. So, maybe my mom, if she was still around, would think I'm nuts because I want to move to Canada and downsize. And, like I'd rather spend my money on experiences and traveling and things like that. And not that my parents didn't want to travel, they did, but they were very much more focused on, kind of being homebodies. They didn't, I mean, they did travel, but, they would go on 1 or 2 big trips a year. Um, and that would be the extent of it. It wasn't, and I mean, of course, they were still working, so they didn't have tons of time off, but they could have traveled more than they did. Um, and so, yeah, it's just one of those things where I, you know, I try to guide my kids, and then I'm like, how much do I say? Because am I helping to guide them into what they want, or am I trying to guide them into doing what I think they want? Because that's not what I want to do. I mean, I truly do want them to do what makes them happy. I mean, I know part of that, and what I've told them is, they've grown up accustomed to living a certain way. So while, yes, they can, do without some of those things, because they've had a pretty privileged upbringing as far as, they never wanted for anything, they never did without anything really. Even when things were not great at home, we always had somebody to help us out. So they've never really had that issue. And so, yeah, it's just, I think it's tough in that situation to kind of know what you want. But I don't want them to be like, oh, well, I can, make do with this and then put themselves in a situation where, yikes, that's not where I wanted to be at all. But now I'm in this situation and how difficult is it going to be to change it? You know? That's why I wanted my kids to go ahead and graduate. Even if they're not going to use their college degree, at least they have one. And, I don't know at this point whether that's necessary. Like I said, things seem to be changing so fast as far as employment and everything. And, they say what jobs that are, in 20 years, a bunch of the jobs we have right now will not exist anymore. And also, we will have a bunch of jobs that don't exist right now. So it's kind of hard to figure out what you need to do and where you need to be when you don't know what the future looks like. So I always just figured it was better for them to get a college degree than not. And we were lucky enough to be able to afford that for them. And because my daughter talks about that sometimes. Well, mom, it's so hard, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I don't know what you're complaining about. You don't have any student debt. You're not in the same situation as a lot of your peers because a lot of, the people that you went to school with weren't lucky enough to have parents who could just outright pay for college and, you know, let their kids get a degree without some significant hardship either to their students, their kids or themselves, whether they were borrowing the money themselves, whether the kids borrowed it for student loans. I mean, I took out student loan to get my master's degree. And while it's okay now, had any one thing about my circumstances been different, I don't know if I'd ever have gotten them paid off. I mean, it's just, and they never go away. They follow you around forever because you can't declare bankruptcy from them. And it just, yeah. And I mean, my kids just went to a local state university. They didn't go to a big name Ivy League school or, a Division I school or however you want to classify, a big university where they would have had to pay a lot of money. And they're going to get just as good of a college degree because it's one of those things where, I try to tell my kids, grade point average is important. But, once you get to a certain point in your life, what your high school GPA was or what your college GPA was doesn't really matter. They just want to know, did you graduate? Did you get your high school diploma? Did you get your college degree? And as my son is so fond of reminding me, C's get degrees, Mom, whenever I argue with him because he's waited too late and he gets frustrated about his grades. And I'm like, did you study? And the answer to that is usually, not really. And it's like, well, if you didn't prepare for it, then why are you surprised? So yeah, just the world is changing, guys. I used to think that, I needed to get a college degree because that was what my parents had drummed into my head. And I think part of that was that my dad really struggled to get his because he couldn't afford to go to college straight out of high school. His parents were not wealthy at all. And so he joined the Army basically for the GI Bill so that he could get help with school when he got done. And my dad was very focused. I wish sometimes I had inherited that trait from him because he was very focused and very disciplined about a lot of things. And I wish I was more like that some days. I can be up to a point, and then I get to a point where I'm like, no, I'm going to do this. So, and I mean, I frustrate myself when I do that, but I do it. So, just have to learn those things about yourself, right? Okay, how long have I been talking and blathering? Ooh, for a lot longer than I thought. I did have some things written down and talk about. I think the only other thing, oh, you guys, I'm really trying hard not to buy a whole lot of diamond paintings. I'm jonesing to buy something from Diamond Art Club. I don't know why. I have a whole ton of Diamond Art Club paintings sitting right behind me on my shelves, ready to go, that I could diamond paint at any time. That's not the same as buying them, though, is it? Now, I will say the latest new releases, I, for the most part, can take them or leave them. There's been a couple of them that I'm like, I might buy that one. And then I look at the price and I'm like, I think I'll wait a little bit. I just haven't seen anything that I'm like, yes, I cannot live without that one. I must have it. I don't know if that's just My reaction to, I know how much I spent last year and I don't want to spend that much again this year. Because honestly, my husband wouldn't care. I mean, he's already told me, just buy whatever you want. But, we're going to be moving at some point, hopefully in the next year. Um, we're still paying for college and are going to be doing that for the next couple of years. And, I don't know how this is all going to shake out as far as us moving up there. We're still trying to decide whether we want to just move up there lock, stock, and barrel, or whether we want to maintain a place in the US as well. So, that way it's a little bit easier for us to come back and we wouldn't have to pay for hotels or whatever. We'd have a place to stay. But then that brings with it its own, set of issues. And what do we do with the places in either place when we're not there? And, first world problems, that kind of stuff. Anyway, all of that to say that that's one of the reasons I've not wanted to spend a lot of money because we don't really know what our moving expenses are going to be. As far as, moving up there, we don't know what our housing situation will be really. We've talked about renting up there in the short term until we can figure out, what we want to do long term. So yeah, just kind of all kinds of things up in the air. And so I haven't wanted to spend a lot of money. And I just, every time Diamond Art Club does their new releases, I look at them and think, oh, there's going to be something this week that I'm like, oh, I got to have that one. Even the Dragling one this week, I love Randall Spangler. Have loved him for years and years and years. But well, I already have like 9 of them, first of all, and I haven't done any of them yet. So I kind of feel like I probably shouldn't buy any more until I do at least one of them. And they're so stinking cute. So every time I see one, I think, okay, maybe this week. And then every week I decide, not this week. So we'll see. I have found a couple of new to me places that I might be trying out. I decided probably I need to rethink Oraloa. I know I had them listed on my Big 10, so I at some point was going to do a canvas by them, but I'd kind of been putting off buying anything, again, back to the budget. But I just realized they have a warehouse in Canada. So when we move up there, that would be a good place for me to buy diamond paintings from as well. And I like the Oraloa that I did, the one that I've done. It was nice. I had some issues with some of the drills, but it's come a long way since then. I think that's part of me wanting to buy something else. All of my kits are kind of older ones because older because I bought them last year. I've been trying to kind of do them in order of how old they are, but then I get sidetracked. So, you know how it goes, guys. Okay, let me get these all back in here. So I made some good progress on this one. I'm happy with that. It's just a little corner here, but some progress is better than no progress, right? Again, keep an eye out. I'm not going to tell you guys what this canvas is, but I will be unboxing it, and you can see that it says Diamond Art Club, so it's a Diamond Art Club. You probably could tell that from the schematic, but I'm not going to tell you exactly what it is. So let me zoom out here a little bit. So there you can see. It's a lot of brown, basically, for right now. Anyway, guys, I think I'm going to call it good there because I still need to edit this and upload it, and I'm going to run out of time, and I would lay money that YouTube is going to be a pain in the you know what, and it's going to upload super slow. So I would like to not be doing this until midnight. So I'm going to call it quits there. Thanks so much for hanging around and listen to me while I chat and ramble and talk about Lord knows what. Sometimes I don't even remember what I talk about until I go back and edit the video. So, yeah, thanks for sticking around, guys. I really appreciate it. As always, before you leave, don't forget to do all the things. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification icon so that you can be informed of future uploads. Thanks for watching, guys.